Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to share 5 drugstore blushes that are definitely worth trying. So I searched all over to find the best options for drugstore blushes. I went to Target, I went to Walmart, I went to Ulta, I went to CVS, I even checked out a Walgreens nearby. So, I mean, you know, which is like one of my favorite things to do is like to go shopping, especially like Target and Walmart. You're not gonna drag me there. I'm gonna willingly go there and look at makeup. So the first one I'm going to show you guys on my face is the flowerbeauty. This is the Flower Pots Powder Blush, and this is in the color Spiced Petal. Flowerbeauty is Drew Barrymore's drugstore makeup line. If you don't know, I actually think she's got some really great formulas. They sell them at Walmart and I think Target as well. So this is a matte powder blush, and the reason why I chose this one is because the formula was really nice for a matte powder drugstore. It has a very similar texture and finish as like a MAC powder blush, and it's only 10 bucks. So speaking of MAC, I'm gonna apply this blush using a MAC 129 powder brush. And I'm gonna get a good amount on my brush because this is more of a neutral color. And so this color is just a really pretty neutral pink. It's got a little bit of like an earth tone. It's a little more like the mauve side, but it's a really pretty, just like a nice neutral, pretty light pink. So that is Flowerbeauty Spiced Petal Powder Blush. Moving on to my other powder blush. This one's from Milani. I have loved these Milani baked blushes for at least a decade. These take me way back to when I was filling my kit up with affordable products, and I chose these blushes because they were so beautiful on, and they reminded me so much of the MAC mineralized blushes. So if you're familiar with those blushes, they're like a baked blush. They actually come in a very similar container as this one. But the finish of these and then the color payoff as well is just as good. So these have always impressed me. And I remember I kept these in my makeup kit. And when I would do brides especially, I loved these for bridal makeup. But I kept these in my kit for years and years. And it actually was a struggle to take these out because they were just so good to me. But I moved on. But I do still love these blushes. And so this was one of the first ones that I actually picked up when I was choosing blushes for this video. I knew this was definitely going to be like my top 5. So anyway, this is the Milani Baked Powder Blush in the shade 01 Dolce Pink. And this one is, depending on where you purchase it, it ranges in price, which is a little strange. You'd think it'd be like the same price across the board. But depending on where you purchase it, it's either $8 or $10. It's like somewhere in between there. I think the one I got was like 8 something, and I got this at Ulta. But let's do this blush on this side. Another thing I want to point out is this color is so similar to one from Hourglass Cosmetics. It's like such a great dupe. I can't remember the name of the Hourglass one that I'm talking about, but if you'll know it if you see it. It looks just like this color. So it's a great dupe. But yeah, I just love this finish. It's more of a natural blush as far as like the pigment payoff. It's not like a super duper intense pigment payoff. It's a little more sheer, a little more natural, but it just gives you like this beautiful glow to your skin. So I love this color. I love this formula. I've loved this formula for years. It's always been a good drugstore blush. So if you haven't tried these, I highly recommend these. This is probably like my favorite drugstore blush. Okay, so here comes the sad part. I'm going to take both these blushes off, and that way I can actually show you guys the cream blushes that I'm about to move on to next. So I'm gonna take that off. My makeup is gonna look a little funky after doing this. Okay, just gonna fix my foundation really quick. I am wearing the Dior Backstage Face and Body in 2W. Okay, so now we're gonna move on from powders to creams and liquids. This is the e.l.f. Putty Blush. This is in the shade Turks and Caicos. It's like a really pretty peachy pink, but it's got like a beautiful dewy finish to it. I'm a big fan of e.l.f. Cosmetics for some of their products, not all their products, I should say that. But these, as far as like the formula goes and the shades that they have, are I think so great, and they're such a great buy. This blush from e.l.f. is only 7 bucks. And if you're not new to my channel, you already know that I love the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. So this is the exact same formula, just in a blush form. So of course I was gonna end up liking these as well. So let's try this one on, and I'm gonna apply this with another drugstore favorite, my Profusion tapered powder brush. It's the PD8 brush. It comes in a set of 3 brushes. So I'm gonna dip right in. So these are really nice because they're easy to blend on. I actually applied a little too much, to be honest, but they're easy to blend on. The color payoff is nice. They wear a decent amount of time. They're not gonna wear like an extremely long time. They are drugstore and they are creamy on top of it. In fact, drugstore or not, creamy products, unless you set them properly, they're not gonna have the longest wear time, so just keep that in mind. Not only do I love this color, the rest of the shade range and the putty blushes are so good. They have a really rich berry color that's so beautiful. And they have another pink color, they have a red. They're just really pretty shades. But to me, like this performs and this blends on just like a high-end cream blush. So it's definitely worth trying out for $7. I think the formula is fantastic. And they have a whole other shade range too of beautiful colors that you can choose from as well. And so then just to talk about the finish one more time, it says it's like a dewy finish. It is dewy, but it's not like over the top dewy. Like it's a glowy, pretty finish, but it's not like super duper shiny. So keep that in mind. If you are on the more oily side, as far as your skin goes, this would still be a great formula for you to wear. Next up for the creams, this one I didn't think I was gonna like, to be quite honest. I kind of just threw it in my basket, not thinking it was going to be like a good performing blush. I don't know why, I didn't have much hope for it, to be honest. But when I actually swatched it and I put it on my cheeks, I was so pleasantly surprised. This one from LA Girl Cosmetics it ranges. It's about $4 to $5. I think I paid $4 for it, but when I was looking online, I noticed it was varying in prices between $4 to $5 depending on where you purchase it. But I got this at Walmart. It was $4 at Walmart. So it's the LA Girl Velvet Blush Contour Stick. I don't know why they call it a contour stick. It's basically a stick blush. And this is in the shade Dreamy, and it's just a really pretty, like almost like a bubblegum pink, but more neutral. So I'm gonna apply this with a Beauty Bay BB103 brush. So with cream products, I really like to use more dense brushes like this. Things that are more like densely packed with bristles, but still have a little bit of like a fluff to them, so they'll blend on. They'll really do a good job of like blending that product on top of your skin. But anyway, I'm not gonna directly apply this because that would ruin my foundation that's underneath. Instead, I'm gonna go and work it onto the top of my brush. So the reason why I like this one too was it has more of a matte finish. Well, almost like a satiny, like it says it's a velvet blush, but it has more of like a satiny matte finish, which I really liked. It's not like a dewy, super glossy cream blush. So I thought it was unique for that, and I really like the color payoff as well. It's really soft. Like on camera, it might look really soft. In person, it's just a beautiful, youthful pink, I guess is the best way I could describe it. Like a youthful pink. And just a warning, it might look a little bit shinier than what I just described it because our studio is a little bit hot, so I tend to be a little more glowy right now when we're filming. But what this should be is more of like a matte satin finish. Last but not least is from Makeup Revolution. I have grown to really love a lot of this brand's products, especially their makeup brushes, like I've used 1,000 times in my tutorials. This one I picked up at Walmart. It was $7 and it's a liquid blush. So this is the liquid blush in Flushing For You is the shade. They actually had a really good shade range of these as well. I thought there were some really pretty colors that I was tempted to pick up, but I thought I'll just pick up one. So this one is supposed to be a super dewy finish. I don't think it's like crazy dewy, but it does have a very beautiful glow to it. So let's try it on so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. And this one is $7 at Walmart. So I'm gonna squeeze some on the top of my hand. And I love, another reason why I was drawn to this one too is I love a squeezy applicator or like a squeezy tube for any makeup products. Like I love this foundation for that reason. It's so nice and clean. It's a great way to like just cleanly, pump out or disperse just the right amount of product that you want to use without it being messy. So I love anything that's in a squeezy tube. So this got me right there. The price was great. They had a couple other shades that looked really pretty as well, but I just chose this one because it's a really pretty, just an everyday pink. And then using another drugstore favorite, this is the e.l.f. Cosmetics Ultimate Blending Brush. I love this brush. I've talked about this before. So I'm gonna take my brush and really work the liquid blush into the bristles of this before I apply it. And I will say too, like this formula reminds me of so many high-end liquid blush formulas that are on the market right now. And honestly, it's just as good. It gives you such a similar finish to the high-end ones that are out there right now, like that you'd see at Sephora. And it's $7. and you get a ton of product. Like you get a massive amount of blush in this little tube. So I was really, really pleasantly surprised with this one and the formula. So much so that I'll probably go back and just pick up a couple other shades that I saw that were really pretty just to try them out for fun. And just like the other ones too that I chose for this video as far as like the creams go, it's really easy to blend on your skin. It's not super messy. And for being more of like a dewy blush that this one says to be, it actually dries down pretty nice and it doesn't look like super overly glowy. And I did wear this one, I tested it out and I wore it multiple days in a row and I wore it all day long just to see how it would actually wear on my skin. For me, that's always a good sign if a liquid blush stays in place and still looks pretty towards the end of the day, because I have more oily skin, and on top of it, like I mentioned, I'm always wearing tons of skincare. I have sunscreen on and all those things working against me, and this one held up and it looked really pretty. It was really glowy at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie, but it still looked pretty. It still looked like a great high-end performing blush. So $7 from Makeup Revolution. They have these at Walmart, they have them online. I think they might have them at Ulta now as well. Actually, in fact, I'm pretty sure they have these at Ulta as well. So definitely worth checking out. And this one ended up being my favorite out of the creams and liquids that I tried. So that wraps up this video. Those are 5 of my favorite drugstore blushes in all different kinds of formulas. I hope you guys like this list. I really am proud of these blushes because to me, they perform so much like a high-end blush for a fraction of the cost, and the colors are beautiful. And so also, if you like these formulas, there are plenty of other shades to choose from in these categories. So make sure you check them out as well. If you don't love these colors, there's plenty more where this came from. If any of these were your drugstore favorite blushes, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm at Makeup by Nikki LaRose, as well as TikTok. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And that way you guys will see me next time. Bye.